4 games in 8 days. UConn began it with a 67-point dismantling of Seton Hall. Tonight, the USF Bulls look for their first win over the Huskies in school history. But will it be more of the same and a 52nd straight win for the defending national champs? Years, 9 months, and 28 days. That's how long it's been since they lost the game here. The winning streak in this building is now 26. Tonight, we are at the XL Center in Hartford, where it will be the USF Bulls versus the 12-0 and #1 ranked Connecticut Huskies. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Megan Kumo. There's no NFL Monday Night Football game tonight, but we do have a Monday Night Basketball game for you. Megan, 4 UConn players are combining to average 60 points, but the Huskies are starting to get more production from their bench as well.
Yeah, and so if you're going to play them, you say, all right, how do you stop Tina Charles and Maya Moore? Well, you know what? Even if you can try to figure that out, you got to worry about the bench. How about the great chemistry there, the give and go with Megan Gardler? And Lauren Dixon's presence in the lineup will change things so much, both defensively, but also on the offensive end as well, as she can penetrate and distribute, and it just gives them a completely different look. Some impressive numbers about that bench. 37 points on Saturday against Seton Hall. And let's think about this. Kelly Farris didn't score a point, and she's their best scorer off the bench.
This is the Big East opener for USF, who has a record of 9-4, and one Bulls player is the only player in the Big East who's averaging a double-double.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the great players in this league, and Jessica Lawson, the 6'3" center, is the only big guy to do that. 15 points, 11 boards. She is second in the Big East. The question is, can she put up those numbers against Tina Charles? I'm excited to find out.
These are the only 2 teams who played in last year's postseason who ended the season with a win. It's the NCAA champ versus the WNIT champ. The opening tip is next. Bob Picozzi and Megan Kumo back in Hartford, ready for the 9th meeting between UConn and USF. And we'd like to welcome our viewers who are watching tonight in Tampa and Orlando. They're seeing tonight's game on the Bright House Sports Network. Let us check out the starting lineups. First, for the visiting USF Bulls, Sequoia Griffin is second in the Big East in three-point shooting percentage. She's knocking down 46% of her shots from behind the arc. And for UConn, Tina Charles was named today the Big East Player of the Week. Second time this year she's been afforded that honor. She scored 43 points in a couple of victories last week. Jose Fernandez is the winningest coach in USF history. He guided the Bulls to 27 wins last season and a WNIT championship. And UConn's Gino Auriemma has coached the Huskies into the Final Four 10 different times and has won 6 national championships. And Megan, I didn't recognize one of the players in warmups. Who's that number 34 kid, the unmasked woman?
Well, how excited is Kelly Farris to not have to wear that face mask for the broken nose anymore? Maybe that'll be what can get her back on track shooting the basketball.
Was 0 for 4 in Saturday's win over Seton Hall. It will be Charles jumping center with Melissa D'Alembert. The ball will be tossed up between them by Mark Sentz, who's working tonight's game with Bob Trammell and Rochelle Jones. UConn 12-0, USF 9-4. Hayes to Moore, leading scorer in the Big East.
Look for USF to play a lot of zone here tonight.
Right side jumper, Moore.
Yeah, and that's the last thing that you want when you're in the zone against a team that is more athletic than you. You're just hoping they don't shoot well, and that's not good when they knock down their first shot.
Moore took only 9 shots in Saturday's win over Seton Hall.
And then what that does, conversely, Bob, is it allows UConn to get into a little token three-quarter court pressure here as well.
This is Jasmine Wynn, point guard, coming off a career-high 12-assist performance in a win on New Year's Eve afternoon over St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Shot clock all the way down to 3. Tipped out of bounds by UConn. 2 to shoot for the Bulls. UConn has won all 8 previous meetings. All 5 played at UConn. all four here at the XL Center. Quickly inbound, the catch and shoot by Griffin, no good. Rebound Moore. Doty quickly forecourt. Doty just 3 points Saturday against Seton Hall. Left side, Hayes. On the low block, Charles Lick. They surround her with 3 people.
You think they're a little worried about Tina Charles inside?
And away from the play, we're going to get a 3-second violation on Charles. First turnover for the Huskies. USF did not play a conference game on Saturday. One of the few teams in the league that did not. Traveling violation is called on Wynn as Doty drew the charge and went down very hard. And gets up a little slowly.
Yeah, I just think the contact was, ooh. Yeah, that's smart.
UConn is 4th in the country in turnover margin. The NCAA stats were just updated today. Hayes for 3. And away from the play, a foul is going to be called. It looks like, judging from her reaction, on Kalena Green. The basket should count, but the foul will be called on Green, the first of the night. Kalena gave a look to Mark Zentz as if to say, who, me?
Don't they all?
Good to see Hayes knock down that shot. She's really struggled from 3-point range the last couple of games.
Yeah, you know, the whole team has struggled a bit from long range.
In fact, UConn went from 1st in the Big East to 10th in 3-point shooting percentage in 3 games. Another turnover for the Bulls, their second. Moore to Hayes in front of the USF bench. That's when she's at her best, when she slashes to the hoop. Blocking foul on Griffin. First of the night on the Bulls. And already Jose Fernandez wants to talk things over and calls timeout.
Well, assistant coach Jeff Osserman was telling me before the game that they want to work, that the first 4 minutes are crucial to them because, number one, they don't want the crowd to get involved, and they don't want to have any senseless turnovers. And, you know, obviously UConn's defense creates so many turnovers. If they do turn it over, don't let it be an automatic 2 points the other way.
There's a look at Gino Auriemma. Of course, Lauren Dixon is back, played very, very well on Saturday. And Gino said, it's good that we now have extra options, but we are a different team with Caroline and Tiffany on the floor than we are with Lauren and anyone else. So he doesn't intend to make any changes in the lineup, but obviously Dixon's going to get her minutes off the bench, and those minutes will obviously be taken away from someone else.
Right, and that's, you know, that will play itself out as the season progresses. But when you come off the bench, you want to be able to change the complexion of the game, and nobody does that more than Lauren Dixon, just with her speed alone.
Well, she's certainly the quickest player on the team. We saw her go end-to-end with 2 steals and layups against Seton Hall. Doty with the miss, Moore with the putback.
How about that rebound? Just relentless on the offensive boards, Maya Moore.
4 points for the reigning National Player of the Year, who continues to climb the charts. In fact, very good chance that tonight she will move into 10th on the UConn career scoring list. Entered the night needing just 16. She's already got 4 of them. Griffin with the shot clock at 10. Tiffany Connor, one of the 5 freshmen on the Bulls team. Wynn, shot clock down to 3. Over Doty, might have had a piece of it. And here's Hayes looking for something in transition. Doty for 3. Weak side rebound comes down to Connor. And Moore with the steal.
Just a heads-up play by Maya Moore. USF a little careless with the basketball.
Moore is very much a riverboat gambler. Likes to get her hands on everything. And she is 5th in the Big East in steals. Lawson can't get it to go. Rebound Moore. Gives to Doty. Charles sets the high pick for Hayes. Looking inside. So far, USF doing a good job of keeping the ball away from Charles.
And I think they were hoping UConn's shooting woes would continue.
Moore misses the shot. We'll go the other way. Speaking of Moore and her ability to steal the ball, one of the most memorable moments in her career at UConn came at DePaul 2 years ago, where UConn was dead in the water. Renee Montgomery missed 2 of 3 free throws, And DePaul got the long rebound and had the lead, a 1-point lead, and they had the ball. The game was over. And Moore ran the length of the floor, caught up to the DePaul player from behind, stole it, called timeout, and then Keisha Swanier went end-to-end following the timeout, and the Huskies won a thriller by 1. Only because Moore had the presence of mind to A, not give up, and B, run the length of the floor and take that ball away when it looked like the game was over. That's something you can't coach.
No, this kid is just, she's a very special, not only person, but basketball player. And there's a reason why she's the best player in the country.
Also last year, one of 5 players who made the COSIDA ESPN All-Academic team. Hayes looking for her second 3 of the night. And another timeout for Jose Fernandez. UConn has jumped out of the chute with a 12-0 lead.
Yeah, exactly what Jose did not want.
Maya Moore with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and a steal in the first 3 minutes and 42 seconds.
And what I love about Maya Moore is that she just is finding other ways to be effective. Their offensive rebound, and then watch the heads-up play defensively. Just great anticipation, stepping in for the steal. And when you scout her, you say, okay, well, how do we take her out of a game? Well, you can't. It's not that she just does one thing well. She does so many things well, and as you illustrated before in your point about the DePaul game, she just works harder than everybody else as well.
And the combination's deadly. She's got the most ability, and she works harder than everyone else.
And she's got a bigger heart than anyone.
In many ways, she reminds me, in that respect, a lot of another basketball player who wore number 23. Moore wasn't one of the brighter moments, committing a foul that far away from the hoop. That will be her first and 2 on the Huskies. Next up for UConn, Thursday night, Cincinnati, Gamble Pavilion, 7:30 on CPTV. The return of Jamel Elliott, 3rd leading rebounder in UConn history, played on the '95 national championship team, and was an assistant coach under Gino Auriemma for 5 other national championship teams. In her first year as a head coach.
It'll be great to see JJ.
Win with Hayes on her, shot clock down to 10. Green denying Griffin, who then cuts for the hole and lays it in. Nice backdoor cut. Quickly the other way, Hayes using her athleticism to prevent the turnover. Doty reversing it to Green. Now down low Charles. Nice job by Lawson deflecting it out of bounds.
Yeah, good effort by Lawson defensively to come around on the high post.
UConn trying to make it 31 straight wins over Big East opponents. Huskies up a 10-point lead. UConn, one of 5 teams in the country still unbeaten. Those are the other 4. Notre Dame in action tonight at Purdue. And Megan, the Huskies will play the Irish twice on January 16th. If UConn is still undefeated, the UConn will have a 55-game winning streak going into that one. And then they meet in the final game of the season at South Bend on March 1st. And if the Huskies are still unbeaten, they'll have a 68-game winning streak. They'll be within 2 wins of tying their own record for the longest winning streak.
What an atmosphere that will be, because Notre Dame always gets such a great crowd.
Right. I think that's going to be the toughest game of the season for UConn, considering the caliber of the opponent and the venue. Notre Dame on the road on March 1st. Moore for 3. Long rebound comes to Charles. Lauren Dixon is checked in for the Huskies, replacing Doty. Helena Green called for the travel as she tried to blow by Griffin on the dribble. Turnover number 2 for UConn. Dixon against Seton Hall on Saturday. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and tied her career high with 3 steals.
Pretty productive minutes, no?
And she looked as explosive as she did before injuring her hamstring.
And you and I had talked about it during the broadcast that mentally, you know, regardless of what she put on a stat sheet, I think mentally that game probably did more for her than anything. I think she's got the confidence. Did you see her diving on the floor there? It doesn't look like that hamstring is bothering her. Just
created another turnover. I asked her in the warm-up drills, layup drills, I said, how's the leg? She says, great. As you can see, it doesn't look like there's a wrap on it at all.
No.
Happened in this building November 9th against Vanguard in the second exhibition game. Played 1 minute against Stanford, then played 11 minutes against Florida State, and then let it rip against Seton Hall on Saturday. Helena Green over D'Alembert, hit the side of the backboard. Moore keeps the rebound alive. Ball didn't hit the rim, so the shot clock didn't recycle. Shot clock at 3. Charles baseline with 1, still didn't hit the rim, and that's a shot clock violation. Although, did you notice Moore
she made it.
got the offensive rebound.
Yeah, and then knocked down the shot.
Kelly Farris will check in, replacing Helena Green. There's Farris without the mask for the first time since breaking her nose. Number 21, Janae Stokes, nearly got a 5-second call. Stokes, a prolific three-point shooter, made 7 of them in one game this season. Pass inside, stolen by Charles. Here's Dixon, 1-on-2. She'll wait for help. Reverses it to Hayes. On the blow-by goes by D'Alembert, and then we'll get a reach-in foul.
And that's what that's what Tiffany Hayes presents out there. The defense has to run out because they have to respect her three-point shooting, and then she has that explosiveness.
Dixon on the right. High post Moore.
It's great ball movement.
Back to Moore.
That makes it so hard on the defense. You get the ball into that low post, throw it opposite, and then Maya Moore running the baseline. Are you kidding?
8 points on 4 of 6 shooting and 4 rebounds. We've only played 6 minutes and 15 seconds. 12-point UConn lead. It seems like every game's the same. Hayes knocked it out of bounds. 13 to shoot for the Bulls. They will inbound directly in front of the newest member of the UConn coaching staff, Marissa Mosley, who was an outstanding player at Boston University. And a held ball created by Farris, arrow pointing toward USF, 11 to shoot. Marissa was on our 5:20 a.m. flight home from Tallahassee on her way to Columbus, where she was going to scout 6 high school basketball games. The last one was going to start at 9 o'clock that night.
I don't know how she made it through that day. I haven't talked to her about it.
Foul line jumper. Charles got a piece, but a foul will be called in the lane on the Huskies. I think it's on Dixon.
I think it's on Dixon, yeah, with the push.
Her first and number 3 on UConn. So the Bulls getting to work on the inbound pass in the forecourt on this possession, because this is the 3rd one. Quickly to Griffin. Kick out Stokes. Griffin set the screen and nearly fell down herself. Up top to Wynn. And Hayes picked her pocket. Can Wynn catch her from behind? Well, she caught her, prevented the basket, but will get called for the foul.
Well, it's one thing to look over to your bench with you know, that question of what to do next, but you gotta
protect the ball.
You gotta take care of the basketball. Just a heads-up play by Tiffany Hayes, and you know, luckily for Wynn, the ball didn't go in. You don't want to, you know, turn the ball over and then compounded by fouling them and allowing them to make the basket. So luckily for Wynn, all did not go wrong in that sequence, and Tiffany Hayes at least has to earn these 2.
Hayes, of course, is from Lakeland, Florida. And Jose Fernandez says, look, I've known her whole life, and I can't believe how much she's improved since last season. I said, so did you have any serious shot at getting there? And he laughed. Said, are you kidding me? He said, once UConn involved, what are you, nuts? He says, when we and UConn go after the same player, who do you think gets her? A foul will be on Moore, and she will sit down with her 2nd foul. And 4 on the team. Hayes was a Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Florida at Winter Haven High School 2 years ago. Also a McDonald's, Parade Magazine, and WBCA All-American. Here's Stokes. And Hayes lost her footing and fell down.
Hurdling Helena Green.
So some sort of
that was one of the more bizarre plays I've ever seen.
Side competitions there. Win. They have not been able to get the ball inside the Lawson at all. She's their leading scorer. D'Alembert goes at Gardler, uses the glass, And a great box out by Hayes, and Dixon comes away with it. Has Farris on the right, finds her to the trailer. Hayes looking for another three.
Whoa, she was deep.
3 for 3 for number 3 from three-point range. So she's got 10. She's in double figures for the 9th time this year and 26th time in her career. It's an 18-2 UConn lead.
And this is what every team fears coming in against UConn. They go on these runs, and all year we've talked about it. It's their defense that makes them just so impossible to play against.
From the left, Griffin, no good. Rebound, Lawson. Weak side rebound, D'Alembert.
D'Alembert did a nice job staying on the glass. No one boxed her out.
4th leading rebounder in the Big East. Feed inside Farris. Inside Kalena Green. She'll try to make it a 3-point play.
A very small Husky lineup out there.
Foul on Lawson, her first and 4 on the team. And when we come back, Kalena Green will try to make the basket and 1.
The critics loved it, and now it's coming to CPTV. The original award-winning British series, Life on Mars. See what happens when a police officer hit by a car in 2006 wakes up in 1973. That's Life on Mars right here on Earth, beginning January 21st, right here on CPTV.
That kid should be smiling with the Huskies up by 16. Tell you what, if there is life on Mars, and if there are any good like junior high school or high school basketball players there, I'll bet you Shea Ralph and Marissa Moser will find them. You'll probably bump into them one day at the airport. They'll be on a flight to Mars to go recruit some kid.
They stay active recruiting, that's for sure. I mean, the big guy goes out himself, but those two women are very active.
Big guy's the finisher.
Yeah.
Closer. Checking in for USF is number 3, Kenesha Saunders, freshman from Delray Beach, Florida. Saunders with the ball. 11.5 remaining first half. UConn by 17. USF has yet to get the ball inside the 3-point line on this possession, and the shot clock is already down to 7. They finally get inside the arc. Shot clock didn't recycle. Ball didn't hit the rim. And Farris comes away with the rebound. Tough catch in traffic by Doty. Finds Dixon. This is a very small UConn lineup on the floor now. Gardler at 6 foot, the tallest player. Doty.
I just love Gardler's presence on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, she's just so smart with the basketball. When the ball's in her hands, you know she's going to make a good decision with it. And there she found Doty in the corner.
Career high 16 points in the win over Seton Hall on Saturday. She scored in double figures 4 times already this year, after scoring in double figures 1 time in the first 92 games of her career. Down low Lawson, there's the double team. Lawson goes baseline. It was blocked from behind by Gardler, but a foul will be called. That will be her first and number 5 on the team. Speaking of Megan Gardler, Gino Auriemma was, and he said she understands what has to happen in a game in order to be successful, and you can't underestimate how much that means. What does he mean by that?
Well, I mean, she knows the play to make. She knows what the next pass is. She knows what everyone's supposed to be doing. And people may question her athleticism and her quickness and her ability to jump, but the kid, she knows the game. She's a leader. She's a smart basketball player, and she just makes the right play. And not to mention, Gino has told me she's the best rebounder on the team. In a drill that they do, she'll get 9 out of 10. And that's over Tina, that's over anybody.
Hayes replaces Dixon. Gardler was the MVP of the Philadelphia Catholic League 4 years ago as a senior at Cardinal O'Hara High School.
And people questioned if she would play at Connecticut.
Farris in traffic, missed the layup and rebounded by Lawson. Outlet pass stolen by Farris.
Hey, Farris not playing like someone who's without a mask on her face for the broken nose for the first time. Talk about mental toughness.
Charles back in the lineup. Gardler goes baseline, and a holding foul will be called on number 13, Tahira Johnson, her first, and number 5 on the Bulls. So Hayes will inbound baseline, and Moore will come back in. She picked up 2 early fouls, and Moore replaces Green. Moore, the leading scorer in the Big East. Farris feeds Moore inside, and she's hammered from behind by number 2, Leandra Dooms-Stevens. Number 1 on her and 6 on the team. So smart foul. She fouled her before she got the ball off. So it is a non-shooting situation. Hayes to inbound baseline. To Moore in traffic. Gets her own rebound.
Well, you got to get a body on number 23.
10 points for Moore. She has scored in double figures 87 times in her first 90 college games. And she also has 5 rebounds tonight. Hayes stole it from behind, but looked like she stepped on the sideline. So we'll go back to USF with 18 to shoot. UConn's defensive pressure has been relentless in the first 10.5 minutes.
You know, I feel like we're a broken record, but they play defense with such intensity, you know, and defense is something that teams typically don't like to play because it's hard, and to do it every single possession for every second of the shot clock, it's hard, but they make it look easy, and as we've said all year, they make other teams look far worse than they actually are.
Dooms-Stevens, or make that Saunders force the shot, and another shot clock violation. Turnover number 9 for USF.
And it's their pressure on the basketball that I know Jose Fernandez is scratching his head thinking we got to try to get a shot off, but they take away passing lanes, they get down in the stance, and they don't let you run offense.
Moore down low to Charles, missed the left-handed layup, but there's Gardler flying through the lane for the rebound. Hayes finally missed her first miss, and Gardler with another offensive rebound, and then is fouled by Johnson, her second 7 on the team, and the crowd awarding the hustle of Gardler, who will shoot the 1-and-1.
Well, and that's all it was. You used the word hustle. That's just effort. There, the miss, and Gardler, she just has a sense. She watches where the ball hits, and she follows. She's a great knack for finding the basketball coming off the rim.
That's a good point, because some of the best rebounders in history are not necessarily the tallest players, but they're players who understand angles, and they never give up on the play.
Right.
And they have great anticipation about where the ball will wind up.
Right. Think about the number of rebounds that Dennis Rodman got all those years. And certainly not that he's the tallest or the best athlete, but he's just was one of the smartest.
Deflected out of bounds by Hayes. Well, Bill Russell was barely over 6'9" and was one of the great rebounders in NBA history. Gibson replacing Gardler, who will get a good look at the ovation. Crowd appreciating what she contributed during her couple of minutes on the floor. 21-point lead for UConn, looking for a 52nd straight win. The all-time record is 70. The second longest winning streak, Louisiana Tech, is 54. So the Huskies are inching closer to that one. Wind directs traffic with the shot clock down to 4. Drop step, long rebound. Charles, who touched it last? Green touched it last, as in the green unis of the USF Bulls. There they are, the 3 longest winning streaks ever. The 70 by UConn, of course. You had the 39-0 season in there. Started with that one, the 39-0 season. I guess the last loss, Megan, that jump-started that streak was the loss to Notre Dame in the national semifinals in 2001, St. Louis, and then that senior-laden class with Sue Bird and Tamika Williams and Asia Jones, and who did I leave out? Jones, Williams, Cash.
Swin Cash. How could you forget Swinny?
And sophomore Diana Taurasi. Those were the starters. They went 39-0. Moore with a miss. Rebound Lawson. She's 12th in the country in rebounding. Outlet to Griffin. 2-on-1 if they hurry. But instead she waits for help. give the ball to Saunders. Inside the 8-minute mark. Griffin in front of the UConn bench. D'Alembert reverses it to Saunders for 3. Rebound inside, winds up in the hands of Dixon. 3-on-3, Hayes right, slashes toward the middle. Charles with the rebound. Kicks it out. Good ball reversal. Winds up with an open look for Hayes. And the rebound inside Green, but one of the Huskies will be called for climbing a back. I think it's going to be on Charles. We'll step aside with a 21-point lead. 12-0 UConn leads the country in scoring defense and field goal defense, and tonight's first half effort's not going to hurt that at all.
Well, here just a little savvy play by Tiffany Hayes, but the thing about UConn is that they have such tremendous pressure on the basketball, and they make it so difficult for teams to get into their offense, get into any sort of a flow on offense, and oftentimes teams get frustrated and then break down and go one-on-one because they think, oh my gosh, I can't even make a pass. I don't even know where any of my teammates are. I mean, UConn is relentless in the half-court set, and they force you to turn the ball over, they steal the ball from you, and then they make you pay at the other end.
Out of the timeout, USF ball. Melissa Wynn stolen by Moore. Wynn tries to catch her. Moore does a good job of shielding the ball with her body and laying it in with the right hand. She's got a dozen first half points. 5 of 9 shooting.
And the thing that astounds me too is that UConn never takes a break defensively. Now they're up 29-6 and they're still playing as hard as they did when it was 0-0.
Here's Dixon headed the other way as Hayes left, Moore right. Gives to Hayes. Charles sets the high screen. Moore reverses it to Dixon. And away from the play, another 3 seconds. Oh, this is a foul on Charles. It's her second foul. Both have come at the offensive end of the floor. 7 on the team. Tina Charles tonight, no points. Has only taken 2 shots. USF has really packed it in defensively, and the Huskies have done what any good team would do. They've taken advantage of that. They've gotten great looks elsewhere.
And you got to give USF credit for, picking something to take away, as we see a nice take inside by Janae Stokes. But, USF said, okay, well, we're going to take something away here. And they're taking away the inside game, and they're being successful at it.
Moore finds Green, threw it behind her. Kick out Dixon, who takes a rare shot. Rebound pulled down by D'Alembert, whose older brother Samuel plays for the 76ers. Dixon went for the steal and instead was called for her second foul and 8 on the team.
Well, I think USF has done a nice job that time. Lawson did a super job boxing out. Jose Fernandez, he's continues to teach these guys and coach them and say, all right, you gotta, every possession you gotta box. The shot goes, you gotta box, and I can see it paying off.
Wynn is one of 9 children, 3 boys and 6 girls. I always figured that when you come from a family like that and you're a good basketball player, chances are you're going to wind up being a point guard. Because if you come from a family, you got to be unselfish to survive, right?
Absolutely.
You have to. And when you think of a point guard, you think of someone who's unselfish, right?
That's right.
Set up your teammate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine how early you have to get up in the morning to use the bathroom.
Oh, my goodness. Well, think about Jose Fernandez. He has 5 daughters, ranging from 8th grade to kindergarten.
Kalena Green hits the right side jumper. Kalena, 8th in the country. The latest NCAA stats in field goal shooting at 62%. She's 2nd in the Big East. She's got 5 points tonight as we approach the 5-minute mark. Wynn. Griffin for 3. Rebound pulled down by Hayes. Her first of the night. Kalena Green, low block Moore. Pivots, fires. A rare miss.
Well, USF got lucky that Maya Moore missed it, because the last person you want to catch 4 feet from the basket wide open is Maya Moore.
Especially since she's 6th in the Big East in field goal shooting at 56%. UConn has 11 players in the team, and 7 of them are shooting over 50% from the floor. Rebound last touch by the Huskies. and a fresh 30 on the shot clock for the Bulls.
Well, they get so many points off of turnovers, and so they get a lot of, you know, what we sitting here could say are easy looks at the basket on the run, you know, 5-6 feet and in.
Hitting the side jumper is Lawson. And UConn, they turn the ball over on the inbound pass.
Jasmine Wynn with a heads-up play, creating that turnover, forcing some action there. Pressuring the inbounds.
Turnover number 5 for Gina Auriemma's club. Wynn looking, gives to Lawson, who spent her first 2 years at Cal. Here's Dixon, has Kalena Green on the right, the pull-up jumper.
That was a smart shot by Dixon. I think had she tried to pass that to Green, it may have been stolen.
D, what you try to do in that situation is draw the defense to you, and if they don't come to you, then you take the shot.
In your defense, you got to stop the ball. That's the only thing that can score.
Also helps to pull up so you don't get called for the charge. D. Rowe once told me that when he's coaching kids, he used to teach that maneuver by using card table chairs to teach the kids to go straight up and come down so you don't charge.
I don't imagine you're going to make too many mistakes with that. It's got to be pretty painful.
He also added you don't want to do that when the kids' parents are in the chair.
Well, I was going to say today he probably gets sued.
Lawson with the rebound. D, as always, is catching the action tonight with his bride, Ginny. He, of course, coached the UConn men's team for 9 years, from 1968 to 77. And he has been inducted into the Huskies of Honor.
Just one of the great people in not only Connecticut sports history and Connecticut history, but just life in general.
Wynn on the drive, does a nice job of drawing the foul. This will be on Hayes, and Wynn will go to the line when we come back.
Explore ways to improve your social relationships, learn how to cope with depression and anxiety, and become a more positive and resilient individual. Tune into This Emotional Life, a 3-part miniseries starting tonight through Wednesday at 9, right here on CPTV.
Guess that's on right after our postgame show, huh?
All right. Stay tuned.
Reminder, Thursday night, 7:30 on CPTV, UConn in Cincinnati. Jamel Elliott's return to Gamble Pavilion. This is her first year as a head coach, and she's taking her lumps. She inherited a Cincinnati program that was a mess. It will take a while to turn that around.
You know, she won her opener against Furman, and then, you know, she's, you know, the last 5 games, she's only 3-2. But my girl Jamel will be all right. She'll get it done.
Overall 7-6. Marissa Mosley was hired to succeed Jamel. Jamel, of course, was on the 1995 NCAA championship team as a junior, and then was at Gina Auriemma's side as a coach for the other 5 national championships. Elena Green spins. Gardler back in the lineup.
That ball movement.
Well, Dixon moved the feet a little bit too soon, says Mark.
Too quick. Yeah.
Turnover number 6 for UConn. Huskies again with a small unit on the floor. Gardler at 6 feet. Farris at 5'11", Green at 5'10", Hayes 5'10", and Dixon, who's listed at 5'4". I'm not sure.
It might be generous.
Saunders tries to get it inside. Gardler fronted her.
There's no question. I didn't even see the play. I know Gardler fouled her.
It will be her second. 10 on the team. So everything the rest of the way will be 2 for USF. So the line will go Lawson. She's had an injury-riddled career. She started out at Cal, made the Pac-10 all-freshman team. Then the next year missed the whole year with a knee injury. Then transferred, had to sit out a year. And this is her 3rd year at USF.
And she petitioned for that 6th year, and she got it.
Her petition for a 6th year in order to use a 4th year of eligibility. NCAA is becoming far more liberal with that than they once were.
Well, I mean, think about it. The kid is working on a 2nd degree. She already got she graduated in May with a degree in communications, and now she's working on a 2nd degree in criminology. I mean, my goodness. Working hard, getting to fulfill her athletic career with those unfortunate injuries and the transfer. They made the right call.
In high school, she won 9 statewide oratory contests.
Wow.
Don't you love it? Must be fun coaching a kid like that. Dixon with the miss, rebound Lawson. But coach, you don't understand. Boy, Hayes has been so active defensively tonight. Looks like she banged her elbow on the scorer's table on the far side. Stokes to inbound. Having trouble. Finally gets it into Sequoia Griffin. Transfer from Chippewa Community College. Stokes with the miss. Offensive rebound D'Alembert. Then an offensive board Lawson, and she was fouled, I think, by Farris. Number 1 on her. 11 on the team. And Lawson will go right back to the line to shoot a couple. Jose Fernandez says of Lawson, she doesn't run the floor like some centers, but she's a good finisher. She's one of the best post players in the Big East. Here's Jose. This is his only head coaching job at the Division I level. Been there 10 years, already the winningest coach in USF history.
And think about it, last year, Bob, you know, we alluded to it before with the WNIT championship, but they felt that they got stiff, that they didn't get into the NCAA tournament. So what do? They went into the WNIT and they ran the tables and they won the thing. To win at Kansas,
right,
in Fog Allen Fieldhouse in front of 18,000 people. Bonnie Hendrickson, former Virginia Tech head coach. Tamika Williams, an assistant coach there.
Helena Green with the jumper. Helena's got 7. Minute 30 remaining first half. USF, in winning that WNIT title, defeated Florida Gulf Coast, Mississippi, St. Bonaventure, Boston College, and in the final, Kansas. Lawson, catch and shoot from the foul line. Rebound in the lane, Gardler, her 3rd. Dixon quickly the other way to Hayes. Lost the handle, and it was stolen by Griffin. Turnover number 7 for UConn.
I'm sure Tiffany Hayes is saying, get me back to the left side of the floor.
Farris applying ball pressure on Saunders. Stokes inside Lawson. Boy, USF is really taking the ball inside with Charles out of the game.
Well, and that's the smartest thing that they can do with UConn, with the small lineup they have in. Dump it into the 6'3" Lawson every time they can.
They've managed to get Lawson the foul line a couple times. Gardler turns and fires. Rebound is pulled down by Stokes with 35 to go.
And that shows you the smarts of Megan Gardler. She's saying, okay, this 6'3" kid is guarding me. I'm going to take her out. And, you know, granted, that was a broken down play, but bring her out and shoot the ball because she can't guard Megan out there.
Jose Fernandez is screaming. I think he wants him to play for 1, but they didn't hear him. Griffin hits the 3, and now UConn will play for the last shot. With a 14-point lead, Gino Auriemma won't bother using his first half timeout. Dixon reverses it to Farris. That was an ill-advised pass, and USF steals it with 3. They have to hurry. Saunders lets it go. Good if it goes. It doesn't. So USF makes the first half margin more respectable. Maya Moore certainly made her presence felt early. 12 points on 6 of 11 shooting. UConn looking for a 27th straight win in this building. Leads USF 35-21 at the half.
Back here, we're here. We are back at the XL Center, UConn, with a big lead. CD, you guys are getting a little bit accustomed to this zone defense, aren't you?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, the last few teams we played have played us in zone. I didn't think we attacked it very well. We started off pretty good, and then just really didn't play well down the stretch. Did an offensive rebound, got in quick foul trouble, and then when they got all their best offenses, their offensive rebounding. So we've got a lot to do in the second half.
Well, what would make you the happiest if you guys could improve the second half, which I know
right now. The game was over right now would make me happy. I would like to see us attack the zone a little bit better. Don't give up second shots, and just get out in transition and score a little bit.
All right, very good.
All right, back to you, Bob.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. The UConn defense dictated play for much of the first half. In fact, the Huskies scored 21 points off of USF turnovers. Let's take a look at some of those first half highlights and give you an illustration of what we're talking about. USF with the rebound, but then Maya Moore picks the pocket of Tiffany Connor, one of her 3 steals. This time down the floor, Wynn looks to the sideline. Hayes takes it away and will draw the foul. That's one of 7 UConn steals. The relentless ball pressure by Dixon, who combines with Charles to create the turnover. And then Moore scores at the other end. She had 12 points. Also had 6 first-half rebounds. This time down, Dixon with the steal. 2-on-1, has Green to the right. And Dixon hits the pull-up jumper. And the Huskies lead it by 14 at the half. As we take a look at the first half statistics, the points over turnover, a big margin there. And as always, Megan, the Huskies out shooting their opponents by a wide margin.
Well, and that is even when they didn't get a lot of the inside shots that they typically do. And you have to give USF a lot of credit. They finished that half very well. We just saw there, 11-2 run. You know, that proves that these young ladies did not give up and continue to fight.
UConn with the same 5 on the floor, which began the night. Hayes explodes to the goal. She's got a dozen.
Again, it continually astounds me that she is allowed to go to her left hand as frequently as she is. I mean, she is one of the most dominantly left-handed players in the country.
Great backdoor cut. Griffin beating Kalena Green for the easy layup. Griffin now with 5 points. Hayes looking for a 4-3 of the night.
Let it rain.
4 in 6 attempts. So 15 points for Hayes. Good bounce back game. She had just 2 points on 1 of 6 shooting on Saturday against Seton Hall.
Well, they are going to see a lot of zone defenses, and shooting like that will make defenses stretch out, because you're not going to be able to play zone if she's shooting like that.
We'll get a traveling violation.
Well, yeah, we have a question here.
Rochelle Jones and Mark Zentz come together. Instead, we're going to get a foul call on UConn. Gina Oriema was saying to Mark Zentz, "Hey, Mark, that was a walk." And and now Rochelle Jones, who called the foul, is coming over. Gino is a little agitated.
And Rochelle Jones, she came down and talked to him. She didn't have to do that. And here with the crowd thinks of it.
Lawson with the miss.
And Kalena tried to box out. Kalena Green did try to come, but Dallenberg did a nice job of attacking the offensive glass.
The foul was on Charles, her 3rd. 1 on UConn this half. Down low Charles, who's been a non-factor offensively tonight. That's her first field goal, her first points of the evening. Coming off a 43-point week. She had 24 at Florida State, and then another 19 against Seton Hall. For her efforts, she was named earlier today the BB Player of the Week. Going to get a foul call on Doty. Went for the steal. Instead comes away with her first foul and 2 on the Huskies.
Oh, that's bad. 2 players hustling for the ball. Let's see this. And Caroline said she's out. Caroline thought, all right, she's touching the ball. She's out of bounds. It's got to be our ball. Wow. And Gino having words with Mark Zentz.
Win. Discontinued dribble, says Bob Trammell. 11th turnover for the Bulls. You have to give USF credit. When you play UConn, there's a reasonable chance you're going to lose by a wide margin. I mean, the Huskies are outscoring their opponents this year by 42 points. But you can't just assume the fetal position and just, take it. You have to play all 40 minutes and try to execute. You're probably not going to win the game, but maybe you can figure out some things that'll help you down the road.
And you learn some things about yourself.
Ball was last touched by USF.
Looks like Maya Moore jammed a finger.
Yep.
Well, a lot of teams play, those 4-minute increments. And play it that way instead of looking at the overall score. Let's play 4-minute games.
Hayes with the miss, and Wynn will walk it up the floor. Wynn 9th in the Big East in assists with 52, including 12 in her last game. Stokes to Lawson, juggles it, then shoots over Charles. Air ball, rebound Hayes, her 2nd. Looking for something in transition, and she went from one end to the other and earns a trip to the foul line.
Well, once again, able to go to her left, but I like the look fake Here comes up with the ball, and then the head up, checking it out. She's saying, wait, they're not stopping me. The look fake. You see, she looked the ball out to the wing. And that just got the defense a little bit on their heels, just a bit more, and she was able to go and just couldn't get it to drop.
Second foul of the night on Wynn and one on USF. Hayes a year ago made the Big East all-freshman team, had a breakout game, a regular season win over Louisville. She scored career-high 28 points, and no one knew it at the time, but that was to be the first of 3 meetings between the Huskies and the Cardinals last year. They met again in the Big East championship game, and they met again in the NCAA championship game in St. Louis. Louisville really hit hard by graduation.
I was just going to
and
say
injuries this year.
Yeah, 2 very different teams.
They lost Angel McCautry to the WNBA. They lost Desiree Bird to an early season injury. That'll be a jump ball as the ball gets stuck between the rim and the backboard. Possession arrow will keep it at this end of the floor. Melissa Dalibert looks to say, well, wait a minute, I'm the guy that got it unstuck. Should be our ball. Comes to Stokes. Stokes had 15 points on 5 threes against UConn in the Big East quarterfinals in this building last March. Last meeting between the two, UConn won it handily, 79-42. That's a loss which may very well have kept USF out of the NCAA tournament. 8 teams from the Big East went. USF finished 8th in the league, but they weren't one of the 8 teams that went. Green will be called for a foul, I believe, just riding Lawson out from the lane with her hip. 2 on her, 3 on the team.
And they hope Lawson's okay. And this is tough because Kalane Green is just doing what she's taught. Yeah, the nice take. It doesn't go, and Kalane is just boxing out.
So Wynn will inbound baseline, and Kalane Green's having a conversation with, I'm not sure who. Probably Rochelle Jones.
Probably anyone who will listen.
Saunders with the runner. Up and over Charles.
You know, we're seeing in spurts the athleticism of USF, but there, Tina Charles showing a little bit of her own, and the big girl can run the floor.
Only her 3rd and 4th points of the night on 2 of 5 shooting. She averages 17 per game, 4th best in the Big East. Right side, Stokes. Reversing it to Saunders. Shot clock at 10. In the lane, Lawson puts it on the floor and goes right around Charles, who then gets the rebound. Doty looking for something in transition. Hayes, right side, looking for another 3. Her 5th of the night, a season high.
Well, she has shot her way out of her slot now, hasn't she?
Season high 20 points for Hayes. Wynn pull up in the lane. Rebound off of Green's hands to Charles. Lawson went down hard again, so Huskies have a 5-on-4. Lawson's nowhere near the UConn offensive end of the floor. And Hayes will get a trip to the foul line and falls to the floor yet again. Hayes' career high for 3-pointers at a game is 6. She needs 1 more to equal that. She's got 20. Next up for the Huskies, Jamel Elliott, returning for the first time as the University of Cincinnati coach. Jamel, the 3rd leading rebounder in Huskies history, a huge part of that first national championship team in 1995. Rebecca Lobo, of course, was the National Player of the Year. And Jamel lent that team its toughness. Huskies went 35-0 that year. And of course, they had the big girl scoring inside, Carol Walters.
Yeah.
Did she have 31 in the national semifinal win over Stanford?
Against Stanford, she was unstoppable.
Final 4 was in Minneapolis. Jamel spent 12 years as an assistant coach under Gino Auriemma. Won 1 championship as a player, 5 more as an assistant coach. This is her first year as a head coach, and she will be at Gampel Pavilion on Thursday night. And I have a feeling she's going to get a great ovation when she's introduced by PA announcer John Tewitt and the coach of the Bearcats.
Yeah, there's no question. Jamel will get a huge ovation. One of the
It's going to be a tough night for her.
Yeah.
She comes in undermanned, shall we say, with the Cincinnati team. Moore steals it, gives to Doty. Pull up, and the foul. Foul will be on Saunders. Moore made it happen with the steal.
And I could see the body language of USF, where the wheels are falling off a little bit, and they've worked so hard to get back in this game. This is you can just see their shoulders are shrugging, and they can't do that, because that's when a 53-27 game will become 70-30 in the blink of an eye.
Doty with a miss. Rebound pulled down by number 10 Griffin. Doty, Farris, Hayes, Moore, and Charles on the floor for UConn. Huskies have won 24 straight games in the month of January. They've won 17 consecutive Big East home openers. An offensive foul on Wynn, her third, and the third on USF here in the second half.
You can always count on Maya Moore to do something smart.
Jose Fernandez is so honest, so candid.
He's
Megan.
such a good guy.
He said, look, we're young and we're not very good. It's definitely a rebuilding year. It's a chance for our young players to get valuable experience. He thinks that there will be growing pains throughout this season.
And a great recruiting class coming in that they love. He'll be okay. I mean, he's a great coach.
Through the hands of Charles, and then Wynn foolishly tried to play it. Took it out of bounds. Would have been USF ball if she just let it go. 12 seconds to shoot for UConn. Gardler replacing Doty. This begins a brutal stretch for USF scheduling wise. It begins a 5-game stretch, and 4 of those 5 opponents are nationally ranked. Next one's against Georgetown, who's not ranked. Then Notre Dame, they're ranked 3rd. Syracuse 23, and then Pitt's number 18, although Pitt did lose its Big East opener on Saturday to Marquette, so they'll go down in the rankings when they come out tomorrow. Hayes with the miss, and we're going to get no, they just say it's out of bounds, no foul, and it'll go the other way. 3rd-ranked Notre Dame playing tonight in a close game with Purdue on the road. The way the Big East schedule works, there are 16 teams in the league. You play all 15 opponents, but you play one of them twice. And for several years running, that opponent that UConn would play twice would be Rutgers, because they were considered the 2 marquee teams in the league. And that's the matchup the league wanted twice for TV purposes. This year, it's Notre Dame. USF calls timeout to avoid the turnover.
Dives beneath the waters of Pearl Harbor to trace provocative new clues to the demise of the USS Arizona. For years, it was believed that aircraft bombed the Arizona, but the recent discovery of Japanese midget subs raises new questions about the sinking. That's Tuesday night at 8 right here on CPTV.
And we like to welcome those of you who are watching UConn USF basketball tonight in Tampa and Orlando on Bright House Sports Network. We hope it is a pleasant Monday night in Florida, and we're probably a lot warmer than it is here in Hartford, Connecticut.
No question about that.
Notre Dame trailing by 2. About 12 minutes to go in that one. That one is at Purdue in that intra-state rivalry. Non-league play. The Irish, one of 5 teams, as is UConn, undefeated in the country. Charles juggles it, gives to Farris. Up top, Hayes. Down low, Charles draws the double team. Kick out Moore. And Dallenberg really got away with a foul. I mean, she did everything but remove Kelly Farris's headband there.
The crowd speaking their mind a bit.
Up the floor, behind the back goes Wynn. Reverses it to Griffin. 8 first-year players in the program for USF. 5 freshmen and 3 transfers. And they have a 9th player who's a transfer who's sitting out. Delisha Karn, junior from Alabama, will be eligible next year. Charles tried to save it. And here's Gardner with the steal. Moore ahead to Charles. Maya Moore's 7th assist of the night. And that's a new season high. She gets an assist on that, doesn't she? Or does she not, because Charles put it on the floor?
She should.
Jallenberg getting the friendly rim.
It's nice to see the crowd get so into it. I think they've been lulled to sleep a little bit by the play in the first half of this game.
So she does not get an assist, so she's stuck on 6, which equals her season high. It'll go the other way. Substitution USF. Number 13, Tahira Johnson checks in. Tahira Johnson out of Christ the King High School. So she was teammates. She's a freshman, so she didn't play with Tina Charles, but she did play with Laura Dixon. USF has trouble inbounding, and they will call time with 12:27 remaining, and a 26-point Huskies lead over USF in its fifth season in the Big East. Their best finish, 6th place in 2006. Their best finish in the Big East tournament. They reached the quarterfinals twice, 2007 and again last year. I'll never forget, Megan, seeing Jose Fernandez when he walked out of the building last March after losing to UConn in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament, 79-42, and he said, well, we just got our rear ends handed to us, and I'm afraid that may keep us out of the NCAA tournament. Turned out he was right.
Yeah, but again, as I talked with he and Jeff Osterman before the game, you know what? They went out and they won the WNIT. So they won a championship for themselves. And, you know, you want to make the NCAA tournament, but, hey, you get into the WNIT and win the darn thing.
There you see their losses, all the new players. You can build on a WNIT championship. It's happened time and again, both in men's and women's basketball.
Think about the UConn men back in the 80s.
Men, it all started by winning the 1988 NIT. 2 years later, they were ranked 3rd in the country. They won the Big East championship.
And they love the class coming in. And Jose Fernandez and his staff do an amazing job. They get a lot of great JUCO kids to come to USF.
Right side 3, Griffin. Didn't hit the rim, so we're going to get a shot clock violation. Lawson did not realize it didn't hit the rim. Now Jose Fernandez is saying, wait a minute, that hit the rim. Officials will come together. While we were away, the officials looked at the replay monitor to see if, in fact, that shot had hit the rim. See for yourself, and it looks pretty obvious the ball changes directions because it hit something.
It grazed it for sure. Here we get a good look.
Oh,
it sure did.
So,
and that's
example of good officiating.
Well, and you know, that's another example of, speaking of good officiating, the supervisor of officials, Barb Jacobs, former head coach of Syracuse University. And that's where the replay can help. People question whether replay should be allowed or not, and if it can make the game better, why not?
As long as it doesn't take too much time, and in basketball it rarely does. Barb Jacobs also is instrumental in running the Big East Championship, which will be played here at the XL Center for the 7th straight year, March 5th through the 9th. All 16 teams will be in it. Top 8 seeds get first-round byes, and the top 4 seeds get second-round byes. Moore with the rebound, and as she pivots, collides with Griffin. And for sticking her jaw in there, Griffin's going to be rewarded with her second foul. And number 4 will be called on USF. As we look at Maya Moore, first 2 seasons UConn, reasonably successful.
Yeah.
First team Associated Press All-American both years, 2-time Big East Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, 2 Final Fours, and a National Championship.
Not bad.
Other than that, she's contributed.
Other than that, unproductive.
And an academic All-American. Doty with the miss. Rebound on a hop, taken down by number 13, Tahira Johnson. Or Farris with the shot, excuse me. Up top win as we approach the 11-minute mark. 26-point UConn lead. USF has scored only 8 points in the first 9 minutes of the second half. Win, shot clock at 7. Lawson and Charles going at it in the low block. Lawson spins into the double team from Gardler.
Yeah, nice help from the high post.
Here's Farris. Doty calls for the ball on the wing. Moore finds Gardler for the layup.
Again, Maya Moore showing what a great passer she is.
So that's Moore's 8th assist. So she indeed has a season high. In fact, that equals her career high. Here's Doty. Right side, and Doty knocks it down.
And you see her clench those fists because she is off the schneid. She's been struggling a bit from long range. Nice to see Doty knock down that 3.
Wynn will walk it across. Good ball fake by Griffin. Doty affected the trajectory of that one. And it will go back to UConn. Dallenberg comes in. And USF is going to call a timeout with 9:40 remaining. And UConn leading it by a score of 60-29. Win tonight will give UConn a 13-0 start for the 3rd consecutive year. This is the start of a homestand. 3 games in 6 days. Cincinnati at Gamble Pavilion on Thursday, and then nationally ranked North Carolina, currently 7th in the country, comes to Gamble Pavilion on Saturday afternoon.
And kids would much rather play games as opposed to practice, so it is a grueling stretch, but it's what you live for as a player because you want to play games.
The Huskies winning their Big East opener Saturday at Seton Hall, and Gino Auriemma says it's going to be a battle to repeat as Big East champs.
Every team has had a great preseason, non-conference season, and the way that the conference is set up, you know, with 16 teams and playing 15 non-conference games, there's a chance that, you know, we've got 9 or 10 teams that legitimately right now can make the NCAA tournament.
Of course, one of the problems is they'll knock each other off, and that will run up their couple of the teams' loss total. But 8 teams did make it last year. And a 9th team won the WNIT. Doty with the miss. Rebound on a hop to number 3, Kanisha Saunders. Here's Saunders. Played by Doty on the perimeter. Tries to beat her off the bounce. Rebound Charles, and then a reach-in foul will be called on number 13, Tahira Johnson, her 3rd and 5 in the team. This is USF's Big East opener, and Jose Fernandez 2-2 at Big East opener since the Bulls joined the league. Before that, they were in Conference USA, and throughout their history, they are 9-16 in conference openers. USF's going to host the Final Four in 2015 for the 2nd time. Lawson blocks Gardler's shot from behind, but she may have gotten a piece of her arm. So that will be her 2nd and 6th on the team. USF hosted the Final Four in 2008. That was the last time UConn lost.
I was going to say, yeah, UConn would like to forget that one.
Huskies lost to Stanford in the semifinals, and they haven't lost since. Won 51 in a row since then. Gardler knocks it down. The games were played at the St. Pete Times Forum. That's the home of the NHL's Tampa Bay Lightning. What would you say? It's about 15 miles from the USF campus.
Yeah.
USF is located north of downtown Tampa. Sundome is where they play their games, right on campus. Gardler to Charles. Kick out Moore. Ball fake. Dixon for the jumper. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch by UConn. Boy, this crowd wants every call, don't they?
They're a little spoiled, no?
Yeah, just a tad. Huskies have been a, shall we say, dominant team at home. The last 16 plus years, this being the 17th season in progress. 291-11 at home. That's both venues. Gamble Pavilion and here at the XL Center. Moore for 3.
When she's in her groove and that stroke of Maya Moore is just so sweet.
15 points for Maya. That was her first 3 of the night. 185th career 3. She's 8th in UConn history. Griffin. USF 1 for 11 from 3-point range tonight. And in Griffin, they have the league's second most accurate 3-point shooter. That will be foul number 4 on Charles. And 4 on the team. Maya Moore leading the Big East in scoring with 19 per game. She's got 15 tonight. UConn with a huge lead. With 2 more points, Maya Moore will become the 10th player in UConn history, and she will leapfrog over assistant coach Shea Ralph. Of course, Shea was a big part of that 2000 national championship team which was inducted into the Huskies of Honor at halftime of the Stanford game. Shea currently 10th, but not for long. And barring injury, Maya Moore certainly will leave UConn as the leading scorer in school history. Here we are, only 13 games into her junior year. Tina Charles will very likely break Nikisha Sale's career scoring record very late this season. But Maya Moore will certainly shatter the Tina Charles record early next season.
Yeah, you would think
Probably
so.
put quite a distance between the two. Charles also, if she remains on pace, will break Rebecca Lobo's career rebounding record. Will leave UConn as the leading scorer and rebounder in school history. Moore to Charles. Foul line jumper.
More great passing and unselfishness by the Huskies on the offensive end. And if Tina Charles can continue to knock down 15 and 16-foot jumpers, it just gives this team a different dynamic.
Charles with those 8 points. They've all come in the second half. Lawson spins, finds Griffin. Dallenberg in traffic. Charles with rebound number 7. Farris to Dixon. Penetrates Moore from the right, and there you go. She's now the 10th leading scorer in UConn history. Does it with a 3, so she moves 2 points ahead of Shea Ralph.
She didn't even want to tie her, just wanted to leapfrog her altogether.
Moore last year scored a UConn single season record 754 points, eclipsing the mark that was previously held by Carol Walters. Right side jumper by Stokes, her 5th and 6th points of the night. Stokes had a 25-point game against St. Peter's this year. The 21 Heather Buck is checked in for the Huskies. Farris for 3. And Saunders will walk it up the floor inside the 6-minute mark. So we've seen everybody but Jackie Fernandez tonight. Top Stokes. Low block. Buck knocked it away. 17th turnover for the Bulls. Dixon to Charles in transition. Charles with 10. Her 97th career double-figure scoring game.
And what's good about some of these games is that you're seeing production in different ways for this Connecticut team. You know, everyone talks about Maya Moore and Tina Charles. Well, you know, Tina's only got 10 here, and they've scored 71 points. And, you know, it's important to be able to score in a variety of ways.
Hayes has a season high 22. Shot clock down to 1, and a bailout foul just before the shot clock buzzer will send Saunders to the line. It will be on Heather Buck, her first. 5 on the Huskies. And to the line will go Saunders, 5'7" freshman out of Atlantic High School in Delray Beach, Florida. Scored 2,000 points in her high school career. And Megan Saunders is one of the freshmen that Jose Fernandez has a very high regard for and thinks could turn into a very good player.
Well, she already leads the team in steals. She's got 21 on the year, and she had a career 21 points against Montana. earlier this season, as we see Maya Moore exit the game.
With 18 points and 10 rebounds for her third double-double of the season and the 30th of her career. And Jose Fernandez said of Saunders, she's experiencing the usual growing pains of a freshman, but she's explosive off the dribble, and there's big upside. Don't you know Jose just loved getting off that plane last night into the weather that we're having here. First thing he said to us tonight was, "You weren't kidding when you told me about the weather." Buck hit the foul line jumper.
And Jeff Osserman's from New York, but you know, your blood gets thin when you spend. He's down there 5 years now.
Well, Jose relocated. He relocated from Miami, where he grew up, to Tampa to coach. And he's lived there his whole life in Florida.
Offensive foul on Griffin.
Number 3 on her. Number 7 on the Bulls. Next up for USF will be Georgetown in the Bulls' home Big East home opener. That will be Saturday night, 7 o'clock.
Georgetown having a tremendous season thus far. Happy for Terry Williams-Fleming.
Sugar Rogers of Georgetown named today the Big East Rookie of the Week.
Once again, my girl Sugar. That's one of the great names of all time.
Right. Hoy is 12-2. Who was that player in Cincinnati a couple years ago? You just loved her first name. It's going to drive us nuts.
I know.
We'll have it for you on Thursday night.
If you care. But we'll think of it eventually. About 3 in the morning, probably.
Want me to call you?
No, because you'll be up at that hour. I know.
Buck with the rebound.
I probably will be with the kids, but.
Dixon. Hayes goes around the Buck screen. Buck rolls to the hoop, gets the return pass.
Oh, had to go up there.
Yeah, should have shot it there. That will bring us to our final official timeout of the night, and UConn leading by 41.
CTSN, the Connecticut Sports Network, is your home for local high school and college sports, including broadcasts of the CIAC state championships and live University of Hartford basketball games. Channel assignments and programming information are available at ctsn.tv. CTSN can be seen only on Comcast and Cox cable systems.
Back here at the XL Center, a turnover for UConn. Only the 11th of the night for the Huskies. They are 4th in the Big East, or in the country, I should say, in the all-important turnover margin category. You do well in that category, you're going to win a lot of games. Jackie Fernandez is checked in for the Huskies.
Pass.
Nice dish. Win to Lawson.
It's a very successful combo for USF.
Yep. Win with a dozen assists. Big East season high in the win against St. Francis of Pennsylvania.
I don't care.
For 3. She's coming off a season high 5-point effort against Seton Hall the other day, her 5th three-pointer of the season. Inside the 3-minute mark. Win. Lawson spins around Buck, uses the left hand.
Showing a little bit of her versatility there offensively, being able to use the left hand. The nice spin by Lawson.
So Lawson now has 14 points. And we're going to get a foul called on Lawson, her 3rd, 8 on the team. So to the line will go Charles. Farris will replace Hayes, who departs with a season-high 22 points and a season-high 5 3-point field goals. Well, Hayes, as we said, is very, very explosive off the dribble, has a lightning-quick first step. If she can knock down the 3-point shots, Megan, she's going to be an awfully tough out.
Well, I mean, she just has made such a difference with this team, and she just provides such an offensive threat in a multitude of ways. You know, everyone talked about Renee Montgomery being gone. Well, that young lady has a big reason why people have stopped talking about how they're going to replace Renee Montgomery.
One player we didn't see tonight was Kylie McLaren. As we look over there, it looks like she might be stretching her hamstring.
Yeah.
Earlier we saw Rosemary Regal working on it. She's got that utility belt around the foot. We don't know for sure. That's why she hasn't played. But we know she hasn't played. Foul on Buck.
On cue, stretching as if she can hear us. Thank you, Kylie, for making us look like we know what we're talking about.
Now we're told by UConn women's basketball media contact Randy Press in response to an inquiry that it is coach's decision why McLaren hasn't played tonight. So apparently it is not a physical problem. Normally that means a practice problem.
It does, but you never know.
So Dixon will walk it up the floor at the 2-minute mark. Of course, she never really walks it up the floor. Farris, low block. Buck, who seems very reluctant to shoot, finally let her rip.
Well, that step back move just created space between Heather and Lawson, and there was no way Lawson was going to come out.
Let's see how she does at this end. Lawson just schooled her tonight. Did it again.
Well, you know, the senior taking advantage of the redshirt freshman. And I think it's a smart move by Lawson to say, you know what, I'm sorry, rookie. You're not gonna stop me in the low post one-on-one.
Farris to Charles. Wynn went for the steal, didn't get it. 14 points for Charles all this half. So UConn will go 9-0 against USF. USF is the only team to ever take UConn into overtime at Gamble Pavilion. The building opened in 1990. Buck with the block shot and then the reach-in foul on Tahira Johnson, her fourth. But remember that game, USF wasn't even in the Big East at the time. And they took the Huskies into overtime. Huskies won the game.
Well, USF was up by like 11, I think, and that's late in the game.
They had Jessica Dixon on that team, a prolific scorer. Jose reminds us of that all the time. You know, we're the only ones to take them in. No, he says, we're the first team to take them in overtime. And I said, and you're the only one so far, at least at Gamble. There have been some overtime games played here. One memorable one against Tennessee. Remember that, Diana Taurasi? Didn't she make a half-court shot at the buzzer?
Yep. At the end of the first half. And then she hit another shot at the buzzer.
To win it in OT. We're going to get a lane violation called. So Buck will shoot it again. UConn has won a record 17, won or shared a record 17 Big East regular season championships, including 14 of the last 16. They're 23-4 in their Big East home openers, and with this win, they will start another conference season 2-0. Final minute of the ball game. Lawson down low, and she goes around Buck again. Missed, and Buck gets the rebound.
Well, this is a good lesson for Heather Buck.
Well, you figure she has to guard Charles every day in practice, right?
Yeah.
Through the hands of Buck and out of bounds.
I think Heather let it go. She thought maybe she was intercepting a pass to another teammate.
So now the shot clock is off. USF will walk it up the floor. This will be UConn's 234th straight home win against an unranked opponent. That is a streak which is nearly 7 years old. The three by Stokes. And that'll do it. Maya Moore moved into 10th place on the career scoring list, ahead of Shea Ralph with 18 points, also had 10 rebounds. And UConn extends the third longest winning streak in women's basketball history to 52 games. They doubled up USF 84-42. So UConn goes to 13-0, 2-0 in the Big East. USF slips to 9-5, 0-1 in the league. We'll wrap things up after this. UConn wins its 22nd consecutive Big East home opener, beating USF 84-42. Bob Picozzi back at the XL Center. Big night for sophomore Tiffany Hayes. She's with Megan Kumo.
Thank you, Bob. Tiffany, a season high, 5 threes for you tonight, season high 22 points. You guys obviously are getting played a lot of zone lately. Are you kind of chomping at the bit to shoot from long range?
Kind of, but our goal is to really get into the high post, and whatever they do with it, either feed it down low or look for one of us out on the three-point line. That's what our goal is, and that's what we accomplished today.
Well, all of us dopes out in the media world, you know, have been talking about, you know, if there's one thing we can say about you guys in the last 5 games or so is that you're struggling from long range, you know, 18%, you know, 24% from three-point range. Do you guys focus on that or think about that at all?
We don't. We try not to. We just try to work on every aspect of the game in practice. We take time out to just shoot threes, spot up threes, or off the screen threes. So we just try to beat that challenge of not being able to knock down threes.
Talk about you guys defensively and how you make it just nearly impossible for other teams to run their offense.
We just try to go out there basically and run our stuff, try to get into the ball handler's face, and that helps the other players in the back to be aware of what's going on. So we just try to help each other out as much as possible.
How important is it for you guys to have another body in the backcourt with Lauren being back and being healthy?
It's very important. Lauren is a very important part of our team. She's quick. She's got great defensive. She's great on defense, and we're just glad to have her back.
Okay, now you got Jamel Elliott coming back into town. Have you guys thought about that at all?
Yeah, we have. It's gonna be nice to see her, but we're just gonna have to take care of business on the court.
All right. Well, good luck. Thank you, Tiffany. We'll see you. Bob?
Okay, Megan, and Tiffany Hayes took care of business tonight. It was her first 20-point game of the season. The Huskies outshot the Bulls 53% to 28%. Points off turnovers, 27 for UConn. USF didn't get a single fast break point. USF much better rebounding effort in the second half to close the gap somewhat. And UConn wound up out-rebounding the Bulls by a total of 7. But, Megan, 27 points off turnovers, and it seems like we say this after every game, but it always seems to start at the defensive end, and UConn jumped on the Bulls early, and they just didn't let USF get into any sort of rhythm offensively in the first half.
And that's what they're so good at. You know, we often talk about how great of a scoring team UConn is, but again, it's the defense that gets everything started. And I think USF did a pretty good job of only giving up 10 transition points to UConn, and that was one of the focuses for the Bulls, was to make sure that they get 3 bodies back, and they did a pretty good job of taking it away, but UConn just does so many things well.
Let's take a look at the highlights, and again, it was the defense that jump-started things, including Maya Moore getting one of her 3 first-half steals right here.
Well, here is just being savvy and paying attention, and that's where she is so good. And talk about paying attention, Tiffany Hayes just ripping that ball away and finishing. And then, again, Bob, we talk about the defense. Lauren Dixon, the presence coming back, and then Tina Charles getting it started. And then Maya is always going to finish. And the pest, that's what we're going to call her now. Lauren is the pest, a smart pull-up, not getting stopped. And then aren't many strokes sweeter than that.
With that basket, she jumped into 10th place ahead of assistant coach Shea Ralph on the all-time scoring list. Moore with 18 points and 10 rebounds tonight, and there you see her career total. And keep in mind, she's only 13 games into her junior year. She's going to leave those other 9 players ahead of her in the dust.
Yeah, that's being kind.
So now you mentioned in your interview with Tiffany Hayes that Jamel Elliott comes to town on Thursday night, and it's going to be a very emotional night for her, and I would imagine a difficult night. The first time that she coaches against Gino Auriemma has to be the toughest, and then each one after that will probably get a little easier.
It will get easier, and it also will get easier for Jamel when she has her own kids in that program. Right now she's coaching someone else's kids, and, you know, it's different. It's not the ones that she went out and recruited. So it will be emotional. It will be difficult. But I know she'll appreciate the applause because the fans here are very welcoming.
And, of course, we'll have that one for you at 7:30 on Thursday night here on CPTV. So the Huskies begin the season with a 13-0 record and their 52nd consecutive win. Leading the ways was Tiffany Hayes with those season-high 22 points. She was 5 for 6 from three-point range. The 5 threes a season high. Maya Moore, 18 points. 10 rebounds, and she's now 10th in the career scoring list. Tina Charles did not score in the first half, wound up with 14 second-half points, also 8 rebounds. Jessica Lawson led USF with 15 points and 8 rebounds. The Bulls slipped to 9-5, 0-1 in the league. UConn goes to 13-0, 2-0 in the conference. Next up for the Huskies, Cincinnati, Thursday night, 7:30 on CPTV. For Megan Kumo, I'm Bob Picozzi. Once again, our final, UConn 84 and USF 42. The preceding has been a presentation of Connecticut Public Television. Stay tuned for This Emotional Life. UConn wins it by 42. Good night from Hartford.